But so Christina, the reason why we're excited for Christina, because she was able to basically bootstrap her company from 0 to 10 million. And she's going to talk about, she's an amazing attorney, and she has an amazing law firm here in Orange County. So it's great to have an Orange County business that is showing success. Like Kate said, we're really excited to bring people in from Orange County here to speak for people that are in Orange County or San Diego. And really she's going to talk about what she did to scale, how she did it from the beginning, and yeah, so she's also a mother of 3. So not only is she creating this and building this amazing business, but she has 3 amazing kids, and so she's very busy. But here's Christina.
Thank you. Thank you so much. My name is Christina Geraci, and I was originally from LA, born in Whittier, raised in Pico Rivera. And I have a law firm here in Orange County. It's actually a multifaceted firm with a media division and a consulting division. The media division has, we have a magazine, we put on monthly webinars, and we have a conference line. We're putting on 5 events this year, and they're all in the sector of private money. So that was a little bit about my background. I went to law school. When I went to law school, there was always the intention to run and own my own business. I always wanted my own firm. I mean, I knew from the very beginning I wanted my own firm. My mom was a paralegal and she had her own business. I was completely self-made in the respect that I put myself through school. My parents got divorced, and I came from a very, very meager upbringing, I'll say. But I don't want to get into that too much. So I went to law school. I put myself through undergrad. I put myself through law school. And in law school, I always knew I wanted my own firm. And we started the firm in 2007. I was about a 3rd-year attorney at that point, working for a larger firm. And we had about 100 attorneys in that firm. And my partner at the time, who is still my partner today, but we started to get really used to making a nice living, but we always knew we wanted our own firm. So we decided to go out, and I was moonlighting at the time. This is kind of part of the story. I co-signed for our 176 square foot office, and I would work for my firm and then close the door, praying to God that IT wouldn't walk in and catch me working on my files for my other law firm that I just started. So it was always really funny. Like, I would be like, oh my God, please don't walk in and catch me working for myself. So within 6 months, I was very lucky. I was able to quit and go full time. And so we grew very, very quickly within the first year. We hired an attorney to help us supplement right away. So the early years, the first 5 years, I like to say we practiced rent law, meaning we took everything that paid the rent. Anything that walked through, oh no. Anything. Horrible, horrible cases, nightmare cases. And it wasn't focused. There wasn't a clear focus. Everything, we didn't turn anything down. I was the only trial attorney for the first 5 years. So we were a transactional practice and a litigation practice. So that was also very difficult, because I was also doing all of the accounting and the insurance and the payroll. And I'm sure you could imagine there was lots of bounced payroll checks and times that didn't get transferred. My partner would send out bills. Sometimes we did everything. It was just the 2 of us. And we quickly scaled, and we realized, like Kate said at the beginning, how painful it is. Those growing pains when you double in size, they really are very, very painful, because when you grow so fast and you don't have the infrastructure or the processes in place, you really, your product is not that well, your production isn't good, you're pissing off core clientele, and you're not producing what you can be doing because you're so busy doubling in size, and production and quality really starts to fade. So what we did is, when I brought in, I like to say, my number two when I was able to start delegating, because I believed, I could do everything myself and didn't delegate anything at the beginning. So when I brought in a number two, you need a really good number two. I was able to bring in somebody that I trusted. She worked with me for a long time, and I started to delegate more of the work to her, the product and litigation to her. And I started taking more of a managerial and operations of the firm. And so we also hired an accounting person, which was amazing because checks stopped bouncing. We had a lot more money in the account. Just a quick story about that. I remember when we first hired them, I was so scared that I wasn't going to be able to pay them because payroll is so expensive. I'm like, well, I could just do accounting. I'll just do accounting. And I thought, no, I really need an accounting person. And just hiring somebody immediately brought in like 3 times as much as what they were making. And all I needed to do was just offload that to somebody else to free up my time. And these are things you just don't think of at the beginning. So the major shift in our firm took place when I brought in somebody called Mark Kohler, and he started a company called Lead with Purpose, and there are quite a few companies out there like that.
No.
Is it okay to take?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. I'll send you these slides if you'd like them. Lead with Purpose, I actually brought a few copies of his book, and the book is good. There's a bunch of programs like that are similar, like Vern Harnish does Scaling Up, which is Gazelle's. There's Max Traction, which is the EOS system, which is another version. There's Lead with Purpose. There's MAPS. There's eMyth. They're all kind of in the same wheelhouse, and it's really basically the same recipe. And what it does is it tells you how to organize your company in such a fashion that it can start to operate for you, and you can scale it. The first thing I did was developed an organization chart, and that was the most surreal thing because you don't even think in terms that way. You're just doing everything. But if you write down an organization chart, put at the top the shareholders, the managers, the department heads, go all the way down to the receptionist. And don't think of names, because you want to map out your organization chart, like if you were looking at it 5 years from now, where you would be. And believe me, you don't want to be the receptionist or the accounting person, right? You want to be at the top enjoying the fruits of your labor. So don't even think in terms of people, think in terms of chart, like what it would look like in 5 years. And if you knew that you couldn't fail, right? If you knew that you can develop this company and not fail, what it would look like. And then go in and draw the names in. And sometimes your name might be in every single box, which is fine, because eventually you're going to replace yourself. And the whole point is to replace yourself. So once you have your organization chart drawn out, literally mapped out in boxes, then you can go in and start plugging in which each of those roles are, and then what processes those are, and then you've got a process manual, and you have an entire working infrastructure. So then you have it down pat, and you know exactly where you're going. It sounds so simple, but it's not. You just have to do it. The other thing is we implemented a vision statement. Our vision statement is to provide peace of mind. We provide peace of mind to our clients because we're attorneys, and we provide peace of mind to our employees. What I didn't mention was I always wanted my own firm, but I guess I never really explained why. I really put talent and creativity above pedigree. As I said, I didn't come from, I didn't come from a very, very wealthy family. I didn't go to an Ivy League school. I went to Cal Poly, and then I went to Chapman. And number one, in law school, I'm sure the number one when you're a doctor, has an amazing stellar job as soon as they come out. If you're like number one from Harvard, you can write your ticket, you're going wherever you want to go. But for somebody, that maybe is in the, the bottom, but yet they're super talented and they're great, they're very talented and they're great at what they do, that's just a little bit more challenging. And so my goal was twofold. Number one, to provide a platform, a company where people that are talent and creativity really mattered. And number two, where we had fun. I'm kind of a fun person. I like to laugh. I'm social. I really believe in happiness. I want to be happy. I like to make people happy, and I like to play. And so most lawyers are really not like that. And when I worked for my other firm, the first thing I would do when I would interview with firms is you would look at it and it's all very like dark wood, with the green lamp and the scales of justice, and very stuffy, and it's not me. But I love the practice of law. I've always liked that. And I didn't want to be that kind of lawyer. I wanted a place where you can walk in and people can talk to each other and you smile and you say hi, and there's like a really good culture. And that was what I was shooting for. So my vision statement was to provide peace of mind. We input a management team. So when you do your organization chart, you need to have, because you're not going to be a manager of everything, right? You're going to have your management team in place. And we formed a management team. For us, it was very obvious. They didn't have titles and they didn't have names, but we knew who the managers were. And I don't know if that's what it's like for you guys, but it was very clear that these were going to be people that were already kind of in those roles. But we just formalized it. We formed a management team, and together we created company values. We came up with 5 values that we all share as people in the organization. And we didn't even know it, but we realized it once we put it on paper. We're all very passionate about what we do. We love what we do, we like what we do, we're passionate. We all strive for excellence. Even if we hate our client, we really want to do a good job because we own our work, right? And that was just a commonality between everybody that worked at the firm. We are DCC is something they came up with, which is dedicated constant communication. So we have DCC, that's another value that we strive for, to constantly talk to each other, even if we don't like what the other person's saying. We have an open and equal lines of communication between each other. Our other one is the unfirm, as I kind of already explained. We didn't want to be a typical law firm. We wanted to be a law firm that kind of thinks outside of the box, maybe doesn't say very appropriate jokes, and so that's kind of what we did. We all set out and agreed on how to achieve our vision, and the key to this was that all of the managers had buy-in. So all the people working bought into the vision. And that's very important, because if your employees don't have buy-in to who you are and what you're delivering, they're really not going to get on board. If they don't believe in you and they don't believe in what you're doing or what you're trying to execute, they're going to clock in, they're going to clock out, and they're going to be checked out. And that's not who you want to work with. That's not the type of team that you want. So the people, that's where the major shift came for me, was the people. And the biggest thing is that the right people doing the right things. Vern Harnish always says, the right butts in the right seats, right? You have to have the right people in the right seats. And one of the things that he always pushes is, knowing what you know now, would you enthusiastically rehire every person you have today? And if the answer is no, then you know you have a problem, because you don't have the right person in the right seat. So the other thing is culture. I'm huge on culture. Culture for me is, I want to like the people that I work with. I want people to like who they're working with and get along. And we've implemented a lot of things in our firm to help foster culture. One of them is we were doing a monthly, now it's a bi-monthly pulse check, where on a scale from 1 to 10, how would you refer somebody to this company to work at this company? We do an internal, which is called an employee NPS score. And the question is, from 1 to 10, would you recommend this company to work for? And if you don't give us a 10, please tell us why. And so through these pulse checks, you get, we don't like the sick pay. We don't like, some of them are as stupid as, we have an espresso machine, why don't we have a Keurig? But other ones are like, so-and-so has an attitude problem. This person is favored. But and these are deep, dark secrets. Like, these are stuff that people will be very honest with, especially if it's anonymous. And they will tell you, your employees, if you ask them, will tell you what's wrong. And then when you know what's wrong, you can start correcting it. And we try and do like a monthly, like, team building thing, and like a happy hour. Happy hours are super fun at Dave & Buster's, or we'll do a potluck. We do a lot of lunches for somebody's birthday. We decorate their office, and we have a cake. When we hire somebody, new hires get a basket with a bottle of wine and the books that we're reading and a card and our values, and it's a welcome basket, because we're welcoming them into the team. We try and really build a good cult. We have a book club that we have. Everybody reads the same book. We go over it in the daily huddle. I'm going to talk about that next. And on Friday, we have Fun Fact Friday, which is, it's kind of cute. We'll name, like, Missy, she's on my operations team. We'll think of some crazy question to ask. I think last Friday it was, what is your spirit animal and why?
Oh, yeah.
And then, or, what was the craziest vacation you ever did? Or, something crazy. And, or what was the craziest thing you ever did as a kid? Or what was the most dangerous thing you ever did? And the stories that you get from people are fairly shocking, but it's a really great way to get to know everybody. And we do that every Friday. And then we also have a badge system. So a badge system is, I should have brought one, now that I think about it, because I didn't even think about this. It basically looks like a dollar bill, like it's like a $100 bill. And what it is it's basically caught in the act. If you see somebody doing a good job, you recognize them for it, and you do it in front of everybody, and it fosters, like, that little, like, piece of paper, as silly as it is, makes people feel so good. It feels so good to give it out, and it feels so good to get it. And it's as silly as just, literally, it's like a Post-it note. But it's like, I'm recognizing Crystal because she made sure that the AC temperatures were all set to 73. Or I'm recognizing Alicia because she did a kick-ass job with his marketing event. Or I'm recognizing Brian because he spent all day coding documents. Or, I'm recognizing Missy because she was really good on the phone with this client. And when you give these out, it's like gold, right? And then when people collect 5 of them, then they get to spin the wheel and they win a prize. Oh, it's like super big. And we literally have a wheel. So you spin it.
We'll have Patty make it.
And it can be anything from like a car wash to a $25 Amazon gift certificate. I think there's like $100 you can win. But these like little tiny things, they're huge. People love it, and they feel really good. And they feel appreciated. Hire for attitude, train for skills. You can train somebody up, you can coach them up. You can't fix an asshole. So if you've got an ego, that's therapy. You don't even want that, because one person will come in and poison your well. And all it takes is one bad attitude, and they just annihilate you. So the other thing is give them the tools that they ask for. Give them the tools to succeed. I used to be super cheap, really bad. I'm like, buy the $3 pins. You don't need the $12 pins, but you know what? Give them what they need to do their job, and coach them up. I pay for any type of executive education that they want to do. Key execs through EO. I'm part of Entrepreneurs Organization. There's a few members here today, and we have 4 or 5 members that are in the Key Executive Forum, and it's spend the money on them. It's worth it. So the big thing is alignment. When you have everybody going in the same direction and you're all on the same page and you all know the plan, you get alignment and everything just runs so much more smoothly. Strategy. So the next thing is knowing what you want your company to look like, and that's how you will dictate your strategic plan. So, as I said, when I started, like, I had no idea, right? I just practiced rent law. But really, to start it now, you really want to know what do you want to do. So not only knowing why you're doing it, but what you want to do with it. Do you want a lifestyle business? Do you want a business that just kind of pays your bills and, you know, provides a certain lifestyle for you so you can go and travel, which is great. It's amazing, and you will tailor your business to that. Because whatever you focus on and organize, it will happen, right? The same thing is, if you're gonna build it to sell it, those two, you're not gonna want a lot of equity. You're not gonna want a lot of private equity investing in you. You're not gonna want venture capital. You're not gonna want a lot of bank loans, because you're gonna wanna make as much as you can by selling it, right? But if you wanna go public, well, that's a little different. That's the story. You wanna pour as much money as you can into it. So your local banks, venture capital, financing, all of that's gonna be huge. But if you're not, these are all decisions that you need to make when you're starting your business out, or figuring out what you wanna do with it. I went too far, okay. So, the other thing is, to really focus on who your ideal clients and customers are, like what they look like, right? And we drill down, we even had, I have a coach, my partner has a coach, all of our department heads are in key executive forums for EO, so they basically have coaches. And we had our coach come out and literally for all of our ideal employees and our ideal customers, we got so granular. Like, what do they look like? Where do they live? What kind of car do they drive? What kind of music do they listen to? Who are they? Who are these people that you want working for you? Who are these people that you want to sell to? Who are these people that are paying you? You want to know who they are, because then you can target them. And the whole team should be involved. Everybody in your organization needs to know who your client is. They need to know who you guys are going after. And then once you know who they are, then you figure out who knows them. Vendors, for us, vendors grew our firm. It was, we do private money, right? So we write investment funds, we do litigation for mortgage brokers and banks. Any private money, anything that touches private money, we pretty much do. We do the docs, we do foreclosures, we, bankruptcies, anything that has to do with private lending. And our biggest, we grew our business, and we grew in the recession, I might say. In 2007, 2008, the market tanked. These guys were drowning. Half of them went out of business. Our vendors were who built our business. They were the people that did the self-directed IRAs, the people that wrote the software for loans, the loan servicers, the vendors are who helped build our business. You make a relationship with them and they like you, they're going to give you their clients. They're gonna make a referral. And if they like you and they trust you, then they're gonna give you their clients. So your best friends are your vendors, believe it or not. For people in sales, think influencers, right? People that that's who you wanna know. That's how you write them down. Write them all down, figure out who they are in the industry, who you need to know, and reach out to them. There's actually a book called Never Eat Alone. And in that book, I forgot the name of the author, I can't get that. Yeah. And the book basically says, write down the 250 people you need to know, right? Reach out to the top 50 once a month, and the whole list like once a year. And like 100 once a quarter. The people that you need to know that can help you grow your business, that can make a huge difference, reach out to them. Have them on Google Alerts. I mean, this guy is really, really active with this kind of stuff, but he makes a point. I mean, if you have, what is it, the George Clooney vodka, you have George Clooney like out there advocating for you, you're gonna blow up. You know, I mean, all it takes is one person, one like big influencer, and you could blow up. So the next thing is branding. That's part of your strategy. Why are you different? What makes you unique? And if you don't have something, you just make it up.
In your particular area of law, who are your vendors that you did this with? Like, can you give an example?
So Pensco, and ABS, which is Applied Business Software. Armanino McKenna, they were CPAs that just did investment fund work. FCI loan servicing, Del Toro loan servicing, any CPAs that did audited financials for private funds and hedge funds and in the local area. The mortgage brokers, clients themselves, bigger funds like Athos Capital, Noble Capital, Appraisal Nation, companies that basically catered to my clients, right? I think Fidelity was one of them too. B Corp. These are the any vendor for my client is, we're best friends. You get to know them. And competitive advantage, the best thing to do there is to find a word or two that you own, that's just yours. Hazel in the audience has the mastery of miracles, that's her word, mastery of miracles. Find a phrase. For us, we're do non-conventional lending. It's private money, but it's non-conventional lending, so we're saying non-con lending, right? It stands out, it's a unique word. And you wanna find a word, and that's your word. You own the ink, you own the word, you find so when people Google you, you wanna be known for that word. That's kinda how you do it. That's how we did it, I'm not gonna say you. Let me see, did I go on? So the next thing is the execution plan. So you create an executable plan with accountability measures. So once you have all of your strategy set out, this is done with your management team. How you're gonna execute your plan. Get a coach, no one does this shit alone. Believe me, no one does this alone. If you think you did it alone, you're probably a narcissist. So, draw it out, map it out, and everybody in your firm should know the plan. This is one thing I'm very weak at and I need to get better at, is we have a one-page plan. What I want to get to is to the point where we're color coding progress and everybody knows where they stand at all times. So if everybody knows what part they play in the plan and how they're doing, that's going to be the strongest execution. Meeting. Meeting, and there's actually a book by Patrick Lencioni called Death by Meetings. I haven't read it, but it's supposed to be really good. I have read The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni, and if you haven't read it, I would highly recommend you read it. It takes about, you can read it in like 3 hours. It's a really good book. The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni. It's a really good book about building a management team, getting the right people in the right seats, and fostering a team that'll help you scale. It's a very, very good book. Like I said, we do the daily huddle. We do this every single day. 15 minutes, 10:45 to 11. It's super quick. The entire firm does it. The whole team does it. What that does is it brings everybody together, right? We have a book club, so I have a book club right now. We are reading Eat That Frog, which is, it's a really great book. We've also read something called Lean In. We've read that twice. It's a great book about leaning in your processes and getting everything streamlined so that you don't have a lot of waste. And man, when we read that twice, the first time we read it, it was amazing. Like everything down to like the receptionist is like, well, if I put the paper here, then we save 5 minutes, and it was everybody got involved. It was great. Stuff that you don't even think of, that doesn't even cross your mind. So we do the daily huddles. We have a book club. We read, and then we assign. It's very quick, like maybe a 5-minute read. We do like little sections, and everybody presents. So the entire team presents on like maybe like 5 pages, and they tell what the lessons we learned, and then we have a quick like, okay, what's your frog for today? Like, what do you need to do? Like, what's the one thing today you got to get done? What that does is it keeps everybody on the same page. So one time we were going, oh, I have this. This one was like, I'm dying. I have like 6 things I have to get out, and I'm leaving my wedding, and then this person's like, okay, so everybody can gather around and we all can help this one person, because then you all know this person needs help, they're drowning. Likewise, everybody kind of knows what's going on. So it sets the daily expectation, lets everybody know what's going on, and keeps your alignment going, your flow going. Weekly management meetings. This is your accountability meeting for your managers. I'm gonna say us, for our managers. They kind of tell us, we set out our quarterly goals. They tell us where they're at. Any big problems that come that's kind of where you address it. Stuff that we need to know, maybe so-and-so is not happy, they may be looking for another job, the market is taking a turn, it looks like litigation's gonna slow down, but foreclosures are gonna go up. So this is a weekly meeting where we have a touch point. It's about an hour and a half long. And then every department has weekly meetings to do their goal setting. And every department has a revenue goal for the year, and the quarter is broken down by quarter, which is broken down by months. And we used to have a quarterly meeting. We just switched this year to a monthly meeting because quarterly was just for us. It was moving too slow, and stuff was falling through the cracks. So now we're going to a monthly format. We're going to try it out for 2019, see how it works, and that's where you're going to review your KPIs and what's working, what's not working, what needs to be modified, and then we have our annual planning meeting, and that's just the management team, where we set out and we dictate what we want to do as a firm for the year.
Christina, can you explain more on KPI? You're such an expert on that topic.
So your key performance indicators. Explain so your key performance indicators would be what moves your needle. So for me, I want to know which clients I'm making the most on and attorneys are spending the least amount of time on. Because usually the client that sucks up 90% of your time pays you 10% of your revenue. And so you want to know which clients, who they are. If you're catering more to mortgage, are you making more money for us? We're catering more to mortgage brokers than we are catering to family offices. And so you need to know I'm making, 40% of my income is coming from loan documents, whereas 25% of my income is coming from mortgage funds, and 20% of my income is coming from litigation. So you know where these departments, which ones are performing and capacity, and then you can allocate resources. So you always want to know what your KPIs are. For Kate, she wants to know, it's going to be time ratio to client, product, how long it takes a product to sell, what sells, what doesn't sell. So she knows which products are going to sell, which aren't, where to invest her money and time, and where to cut it. Right? Was that any good? Or should
Very
we
good.
more? Kind of caught me off guard there. So cash. So we're all about making money in this business, right? It's really easy, super simple. Spend less than you make. That's it. That's all you gotta do.
End of slide. Right.
Seriously, I know that sounds ridiculous. Spend less than you make. Don't go rent a 25,000 square foot office that looks amazing with a great receptionist and a double door and granite countertops. Just don't do that. Okay, don't do that unless you're making the money to pay for it, right? It's super simple. Keep it simple. Just spend less than you make. Have 2 months of reserves in the account. That's in case shit happens cash, because you want 2 months of operating expenses. I used to do 6 months. I was a little crazy because I was so paranoid. But Greg Crabtree, he wrote the book Simple Numbers. He's amazing. I actually got to work with him, and I'm working with him now. And he says 2 months is good. 2 months. He also says that you should make, a nice steady growth pace is 10%. I did a little better than that. But the other thing is make friends with your local banks. Local banks are huge. Super big. I made the mistake when I first started. We went to WAMU and Chase, and they don't care about you. They really don't care about you. Go to a local bank. Find a nice local bank. Have a good relationship with them. They are going to take care of you. When stuff happens, they're going to call you. They're going to come to you. I have such a great relationship with my banker. I can call her or email her, and she'll drive to pick up a deposit. When you have a good relationship with your banker, it makes your life so much easier. And you're also going to get a line of credit. Chase, the big banks, Wells Fargo, they don't care about you. They just don't. They care about these huge institutional lenders. But if you go with a small bank and you foster a good relationship with them, you're going to get a much better rate of all of our credit lines came from small local banks. Nice, comfortable credit lines that I don't really like using, but it's nice to know that they're there in case something happens. It sits there, and it's really nice to have that, and you're really gonna only get that from your local bank. So I can't push that hard enough. We've got some great little banks in Orange County, some great banks in LA, and so make friends with them, get to know them. They'll take you to lunch. They'll spend money on you. The other one is to know your cash conversion cycle. Your cash conversion cycle is if you spend $1, know how long it takes to get that money back into your bank account. It is so important. If you can, have your customers fund your business. Dell was drowning. This is a great story. The computer company Dell was drowning, and then they turned it completely around by pre-selling their computers before they shipped. So if you can get your clients to pay for your products or pay for your services before you have to invest your money, your cash conversion, your cycle is a lot quicker, in your turnaround, and you have more cash in your account. So always keep a very strict eye on that. Know how long it takes. If you have a product that's sitting on the shelf, how much you paid for that product, how long it takes you to sell it, because you need to know when that money's coming back. Pay yourself a livable wage. I love this. I paid myself $1,000 a month when I first started, which is ridiculous, and put everything back in the company. Don't do that. You'll sell yourself short. Pay yourself a livable wage because it also makes your company look more legitimate, and you also know how much you are to be replaced. You need to keep a real accurate, clear, accurate eye on what you're really worth. So pay yourself a livable wage. Keep your books very straightforward, very clean, because it's going to help you in the long run, and it will help you scale. It's a mental thing. It will help you focus, and it will help you learn how to build your business and scale faster. Don't delude yourself. I mean, that's what I'm trying to get across. Your KPIs, and know who your best clients are and focus on them. Don't waste your time the pain in the asses. Really cater to the clients that are going to pay you. They're not going to suck your time dry, and try and replicate whatever it is that you're doing with them and get more of them. So, and the rest of the day, don't forget that. Any questions?
Anyone can ask a question?
You do?
How many people do you have?
We have 50 people.
So, in terms of hiring, are you the one doing that, and do you have any process?
We have gone through many different processes. And no, I am not the one that hires. If you met me, there's probably it's probably a C-suite position, pretty high up there. Usually, we have a scorecard. So this is what's working right now is we really distill down what this person looks like, and we have a scorecard, and everybody agrees that these are the skills that we want them to have. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 projects that they need to get done within the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 1 year, and do they have the skill set to do it? And it's literally like it's a table that we prepare, and the team who's hiring, so right now we're looking for a CFO. And so I did draft that because obviously they're gonna be working with me. And so the CFO, I want a daily cash flow report, I want a cash conversion report, I want a utilization report on every attorney, I wanna know what we make on the events. There's all of these reports that I want from them, so they need to be able to do it. And then I circulated it to my management team and see what they needed from them. And so it's a scorecard. As soon as they come on board, this daily cash report needs to start happening within a week. This needs to start happening, so we have a really clear idea of what we want this person to do and what they look like, because if they're not cutting it, we're gonna know real quick. And every department has a scorecard for every position that they hire.
I'm assuming, Christina, you're using that scorecard, but you're going back to, you hire for personality and you coach up.
Right.
So it's like, I'm assuming that's
Yes.
a balance there.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. If they don't have our core values,
Exactly.
they don't even, we know right away, we're like, thank you. Bye-bye. Let me go help you find somewhere else you're gonna excel, because you're not gonna do well here. They won't do well. If they don't have our values, they're just not gonna be happy, so.
What would you say in particularly in law, that you see that mid-sized law firms have from getting from mid to large? What do you think is the biggest obstacles?
That's what we're doing right now. I mean, I'm 20 attorneys right now, and I can say, so before I hired Mark Kohler with Lead with Purpose, we had like 10, and we had like 10 to 15 people, and that was okay. Like, that was super easy for me. I could easily manage those people. I was in the daily grind. And then once we got to like 20, I was out of my depth. I was just too much. Like, there wasn't any organization. We needed the infrastructure put in place. And so my understanding is that, so 25 to now 50, now we're at 50, now we're revamping. So this year is the year that we're really drilling down, and as I was telling you earlier, we're creating another organization chart which has a direct and clear path to leadership, from starting attorney to mid to shareholder, to partner to shareholder to manager. Like, I mean, it goes obviously manager, partner, shareholder, but we're doing a direct path. And so we're taking this year as a team, as a management team, to really drill down that and be able to present it to the firm, because we are at 50. We're at 50 people, 20 lawyers, and these people now, we now recognize it. So from 25 to 50, this worked really well, but now we know that we're climbing. Any other questions? Yeah.
I was just wondering, because now you're growing, has your focus changed from before as far as the 3 things? What your exit strategy is? Are you now thinking about?
I'm super excited about our firm. I think it's gonna keep growing. It's gonna keep scaling. It's going to provide opportunities for attorneys, young attorneys, consultants. We have a media division. I'm really excited to see where it goes, and my focus is to just keep growing it and making myself completely obsolete, and then being probably bought out by my employees, and then just watching this beautiful thing continue on without me. Hazel?
That was my question. What where did you see it? What was your end game?
That's my end game.
I have a question on that though. So let's say somebody who's starting out, because I'm sure a lot of people would want to sell, right? Like you said, you want to get paid now and you want to get a big payout one day. But what do you say to people that maybe are in more of the beginning phases and they're not really sure, is that 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? Like, how far should they look out, or how do they maybe determine what their end game should be?
Well, I guess you don't really know that until you're in the thick of it. So businesses, when I started, I graduated in 2004 from law school. So I've been doing this a little bit. People that are graduating now, I guess that they, right now I was just so fired up to have my own firm and practice law, and it's been a progression, and now I know I can see what it's going to look like in my head. So for people that are just starting out, I would say to just get clear on what you want and be real honest with yourself and figure out how many hours you really want to work. Because if you're gonna have this and you're gonna build it, then you need to be honest with your focus and where you're going. So do you want to work 100 hours a week, or do you want more of a lifestyle business? I think you just need to look inside of yourself and figure out what you want.
So you do a lot. So what are some, not productivity, but just things you've done in your life or implemented in your life, so that way you can do all the stuff that you do? So
holding space, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I meditate a lot. I'm very slowly learning to take time for myself. I was the type of person, even a year ago, I was the type of person that did everything, and I was so exhausted that I sat down one day and I wrote down, I remember the day, I was sitting at the center club and I'm like, I'm so tired.